Welcome to another edition of Northern Heat. Today, our special guest is the acting mayor of Bathurst, Lee Stever. And Lee, I have a hard time to call you Mr. Mayor, so we've known each other for too long to be able to get into those formalities. So I'm just going to call you Lee. And you're okay with that?
I'm absolutely okay with that. We'll save that for meetings.
There,
Or
perfect. Yeah, when there's other people around, we're doing this publicly. Lee, welcome to our session today, and I really wanted to focus a little bit on a kind of prestigious award, if we want to call it, that we just received over the last week or so, ranking us number 4 in all of Canada as one of the best places to live. So, what's this mean for you as being the mayor of Bathurst?
Well, absolutely fantastic news. I can tell you that, in all honesty, I'm not that surprised. I've been like yourself. I've traveled around a lot, and it's always the same thing. I can't wait to come back home because of all of the things that we have here. I think COVID-19 has taught a lot of people I guess the beauty of living where we live, where we're not crowded and we have everything you absolutely want, plus beauty that will be unseen in any heavily populated area. So we
Yeah.
uh, we are certainly proud of that.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things that you're absolutely right. We both travel, we both seen a lot of things, and it's we live in a great place in the world, and now we've been recognized across Canada as being that spot. So one of the things that came out of there is affordability, it's people, it's scenery, it's what we have to offer. We've got the ocean that we sit on. We have the forests for hiking. We've got hunting. We've got everything that we want. And and a conversation that I had a few weeks ago with one of the people who are interviewing. It's all about growing our population base, and if we can grow the population base, then that helps all the businesses. It grows their commercial base, and it helps us with all the services that we want to have or keep or get more. And so I believe that the city has already put in some incentive plans to draw people in and to do different things. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. Approximately 8 or 9 months ago, before we were even on the national radar, myself and the former mayor and a couple of the councillors had gotten together to I guess do some work on increasing our population for all the reasons you mentioned. So we thought, you know what, let's try and see what kind of incentive programs that we can offer. So then we looked at what's going to bring new people here. So, the incentive programs would start with that and then move on from there. So, one of the things we had talked about was incentive programs for first time homeowners. And, so if this is the first time you own a home, we have an incentive program for that as well. We started to get a shortage of residential construction. So there's an incentive program for that as well. As well, like any other small city, town, or large city, we have some buildings that really should come down. And so we have an incentive program for demolition, of buildings that are maybe a little too unsightly to leave up. And then we have, of course, the luxury condo section that there's a huge demand for. We have a lot of people that are looking at selling their homes, getting into higher end condos. So we have an incentive program for that. And, and along with that, we have a business startup incentive, vacant business incentive, and as well as commercial construction incentive as well. So we believe through that we've hit all the areas we needed in order to increase our population base. And it's funny because things really started to change for us about 6 months ago, before we had even announced this. We announced this in November that it was coming into effect on January 1st of 2021. But we started to see a lot of new residents coming here, and little businesses coming to see us, and talking about opening up shop and so on and so forth. So it was already starting to move. So really, the increase we can't take full credit for. Others, for a while, were eyeing Bathurst as a place to come and set up shop. And I want to tell you personally, I believe in the last 5 years since this council, as well as Mayor Fangemi, I think we've changed the mindset of a lot of people. We've taken, the fact that Bathurst had not had any growth, and we went through, some tough times, the closing of the mines and the mills and so on and so forth. And we said, you know what, we're going to forge through this, and we're going to bring things up and increase our population base, our service industry, and so on and so forth.
Well, you talk about closure of the mines, and the mines has been closed now since 2013, and it's time we all get over it. It's closed, it's gone, and you know what? When I worked at the mines, I was there for 33 years, along with some of your brothers, and we always thought that when the mines closed, Bathurst was going to become a ghost town. Well, it didn't become a ghost town.
No.
We're doing things, we're growing. There's stuff we're winning these awards of best place to move to, and you can't buy a house in Bathurst anymore.
That's right.
Like things are going up, they get posted and they're sold within a day, and you got people that are buying homes on spec, and stuff, and they're moving here from different places. So that allows us to grow. The other part too that I think you talk about opening up businesses and stuff, but there's nothing stopping people to move here because uh, COVID has brought a kind of a new generation of acceptance when it comes to working from home. A lot of times before it wasn't accepted to work from home, even if you could, but it wasn't an acceptable practice. But now it's a necessary practice. And so you can get people to move here from anywhere in the world if they want to and continue on working in the jobs that they're doing. And then what that does, it grows, and then they can participate in our outdoor living and everything that we have. And again, the affordable part of living in this part of the world.
And it's funny you're saying that because, like you mentioned, the number of people who purchased homes having only viewed by video, and you know what? And you're talking some higher end homes, but I think when they look at the video that shows what we have to offer, and besides beautiful scenery, if you look at our walking trails, things you had touched on earlier. Our walking trails, we have second to none's best snowmobiling that you will find anywhere. We're the maritime capital of snowmobiling, but we probably should be Canadian capital of snowmobiling in all honesty, because our trails are second to none. I've snowmobiled everywhere as well. So.
No, you're absolutely right. And the other part too, Lee, and we haven't even talked about this, it's the people. We live in the Chaleur region, and Chaleur, it's all about the warmth and the acceptance, and how we welcome people into our area. I had a person come into our store the other day and comment on the fact that they had worked here at one point at a time at the smelter. They moved away for a number of years. They retired and they came back, but they weren't from here in the first place.
Right.
And they came back here, and I asked why, and they said because of the people in your area. Like, you can't find any more welcoming people than the people in our region.
Absolutely. And I'm going to tell you something that's starting to really surprise me more and more is that our kids, our young people who left here because Bathurst wasn't exciting enough, they're coming back now. Just this week here, I talked to two friends of my daughter, grew up with my daughter, and they moved back to Bathurst, and these are young professionals, and they were staying in larger centers. And I think COVID really did a number on some people. And around here, you can step outside, you can go to places. You don't have to worry about bumping into people. In the wintertime, there's lots of activities. In the summer, there's great nightlife here. So they're starting to realize, what you may have, the reasons why you thought you were leaving, maybe now you realize we had all those all along. And I think it's been an eye-opener for some people. And it's certainly nice to see our kids come back, because we need them to come back. We need them to replace the people that are retiring and so on. So
yeah, and the other part too is that for young people, and I consider myself very, very fortunate because both of my kids are here, my grandchildren are here, and I praise to be in that position every single day, because not everybody has that opportunity. And so if the kids come home, the other thing too is that they come home to a support family. There's a support system there that during COVID, you talked about COVID, that if you were stuck in a big city in an apartment building under confinement and with nobody there to support you, I can't imagine being in that situation. I
And
just do not.
growing up like you and I did, we'd have a lot of difficulty with that. You
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
shared elevator with, 1,000 other people. I don't know. I would
Well,
a
we
lot.
need space, and that's part of our DNA. And I think that that's one of the things that we have to offer, one of the things that are there. And the other part too is that if you do move to Bathurst and you don't move into a family, you're going to create a family pretty quick because we're so welcoming that all of a sudden you get drawn into whatever group or clique or whatever that you want to call it, and you become part of that family. And then all of a sudden your support network is there.
Next thing you know, you're at a barbecue with your neighbors that you met a couple of months ago. So
No, and that's the case. So I want to thank you again for coming on to talking about the things that the city are doing to be progressive as you are and getting those things in place to be able to put some incentives there for people to come here, to start businesses here, to do a whole bunch of things to be able to improve and to grow our population base. And at the same time, I think that I'd be remiss to mention that we need to share these interviews. We need to share this information and get it out there to the rest of the world and talk to them about we're number four. Okay, there's some famous number fours out there, and everybody remembers Bobby Orr and a few others, and I think you can think of some numbers. So all of a sudden, Bathurst is in that number four range.
yes, absolutely. And the urban residents are certainly looking for a better quality of life. And what better place to look than places like Bathurst, where we have room, it's affordable, and it's just a beautiful, fantastic place to live. And we have all four seasons. So the people who don't like winter, it's because they don't do things in the winter.
Yeah, and
We
we
have
have
walking trails, cross country skiing, hiking, all of the things that people probably don't have much access to in the larger centers, and we have it all.
No, you're absolutely right. And we talked briefly, and I know there are things that you can't share all details, but you've been saying that there's been a lot of a reflux of interest in businesses and people moving here and stuff in the last few months, and hopefully we can keep that going and bring you back on at another interview later on when some of these things come out and you're able to talk about them.
It would be my pleasure to come back. And I'm just going to close with one statement, Bob. You know, I'm going to take a quote from one of your previous programs. I'm certainly no John Wayne of words, but there's no shore like the North Shore, and that's for sure.
And there we are, the Mayor of Bathurst talking about growth that's going on in our city and why we're number four of places to live in all of Canada.